In our segment today about get a second opinion, we're going to address a question that's been asked, but here's a thought of why we always want to try to get a second opinion with whatever we do, especially when it comes to our health. I was reading about this commander-in-chief that lived in the 15th century, and when he faced this problem in his life, why he was not satisfied and what he did when he was not satisfied with the first option that he was given. So this commander-in-chief that lived in Japan had this favorite mug that he had. You know how they drink tea over there, and we should all. But anyway, favorite mug he had for tea, and it broke. And usually when that happens to us, we cry, you know, because it's our favorite mug, but we throw it out. That's usually what we do. So this gentleman, this commander-in-chief, it was such a valued possession for him that he said, no, I'm going to see if they can fix it. And he sent it, he was in Japan, sent it all the way back to China. Look it up in a geography map. The mug traveled far. And when he sent it to China, he said, fix it. So it came back to him with the way that they fixed it over there. It's very interesting because I'm going to rip a page in two to show you how it is that this mug came back to him, how it was that it was repaired. Literally, they placed some type of thick staples on this mug. And so when he got it back, it literally looked like he was getting back this mug with staples on it. And if you go online and look at it, it's really interesting because thick staples on a mug. I don't even know how they did that, but that's how it got back to him. And he looked at this favorite mug of his with these huge, horrible staples on it and thought, yeah, this isn't going to work for me. So he got all the artisans together, or whatever artisans he had, and he said, almost like a challenge, find me another way to fix this mug. And so they got to work. And you know what they came up with? It's a practice that is very known in Japan, and you've probably seen it. It's called kintsugi. And you've seen it because now in Japan, ever since this happened, anytime that something cracks, they fix it with this method. And so now they don't throw anything out. You know how they fix it? It's a concoction that they make to piece the broken pieces together, and it's made of gold. So now what happens to these mugs when they break? Well, when they break and they're fixed with gold, they become even more valuable. And that's what happened to this commander-in-chief. His mug now was much valuable. And a new practice emerged. And you've seen it on these nice, beautiful mugs that seem to have decorations, and you think, oh wow, it's like really, they're all different. And really all it is these were mugs that sometimes they're even breaking them to fix them and sell them that way. But I thought that practice was very interesting because the more a mug would break and was put together with gold, the more valuable it became. And it now had a history beyond it or behind it. And as I read that and came across that, I thought, how wonderful it would be if we took care of our health that way. How wonderful it would be if when we face a health issue, we didn't just threw our hands up in despair and said, wow, I'm getting old. I guess I'm not what I used to be. And what can I do? Throw a couple of pills, pop pill after pill, fill myself with pills and, drag myself until I hit the grave. Because after all, I'm old, I'm not worth anything. And we do that when we face physical issues, when we face emotional issues and mental issues. We tell ourselves we're not worth it because we are willing to take the first option that is given to us, which is pop some pills, accept it, keep going. But how wonderful it would be if we didn't just take the first option that is given to us, but we looked for gold. We looked for the right nutrients to come into the body and to strengthen the organs that are weak and to give also some type of strengthening to organs that are working so much, they don't look like they're having any issues, but they're working so much. So how wonderful it would be that we looked for the gold and nutrients that worked on both sides of the imbalance. and worked on strong organs and on weak organs. And if we did that, we'd end up being even more valuable at the end, and we'd have the opportunity of a testimony to share. With that in mind, let's talk about water retention, which is the question that has been asked in this forum. What can I do when I face water retention, which the doctor can very well diagnose like edema, pitting edema, non-pitting edema. Edema that when I hold down those areas of my body where there's inflammation and I hold them down for 10 to 15 seconds, either an indentation remains, and that's pitting edema, or no indentation, but I know that there's still inflammation there. I know there's water retention. So when I'm looking at my legs, I'm looking at my ankles, I'm looking at my arms, I'm looking at my area of my abdominal area, and I do this, and there is either obvious inflammation, and so I know there's water retention, or there's the retention or the indentation that remains in the body. No matter what you call that edema, whether I have the diagnosis or not, the minute I notice that my body's giving me signs of inflammation, I want to take action. I want to go look for the gold. Don't pop pills, let's look for the gold. What would be signs of this? I can no longer put my rings on in the morning. There's just little things that you just ignore. You just say, oh, well, I got to get them resized, or, oh, well, I'm getting fatter or older, or... So listen to the body's whispers. Learn to listen to your body. The changes are not because you're getting older. The changes are symptoms that the body gives you, whispers of something is wrong. So I don't have to wait until my liver fails, until my heart and circulation are failing, until I have diabetes, which are the different things that the doctor says will take us to water retention. I don't want to wait till that happens. I want to address it now, the minute I see little symptoms like that, little whispers before the body roars. I want to self-care with gold. So I see the symptoms, or I have the diagnosis from the doctor, and it is pitting or non-pitting, doesn't matter. What can I do to work at this? In traditional Chinese medicine, they teach that when this is going on, obviously you immediately think kidneys, right? That's what they tell us, that's what's obvious to us. But in traditional Chinese medicine, they tell us that besides the kidneys not working the way they should, I'm already having a spleen deficiency, which in traditional Chinese medicine is all the digestive system. So I'm having digestive issues, or have had them for a while, and now they're turning into this obvious water retention. And it is a lung deficiency. In other words, my lungs aren't working as they should. Why is it important that I know that? Because if I understand the root of what's causing these issues, I can now take care of these body systems a little bit more. For example, I will be more careful with what I'm breathing in. I will be more careful with what I put on my skin and on my body, because I know it's going into my lungs, because I know I'm smelling it, perfume, cologne, washing with Clorox, working in an area where all this dust is coming in constantly, or all these toxins from a toxic environment that I work in are coming in. I'm going to be more careful with those things because I understand the underlying root, the organs that are weak. So I'm going to be more careful with what I breathe, or what I allow myself to breathe in. And I'm also going to be more careful with my digestive system. So I'm going to actually now wonder, what am I eating? Because I'm obviously going to give my digestive system a break. What does that mean? That means I need to look at changing the way I've been eating. I need to look at more raw foods. I need to eliminate proteins that are animal-based, because they have been overburdening my body, and I need to give it a break. So it's not that I went to sleep yesterday, woke up this morning. It may seem like that. Went to sleep yesterday, I was fine, woke up this morning, oh my gosh, water retention all over the place, inflammation that is crazy. It may seem like it was overnight, but these organs were being affected through many years of wrong health style, wrong eating, lack of exercise, lack of hydration, etc., etc. So I don't want to look at it as something that happened overnight. I want to look at the underlying factors and now start making changes. So I'm changing my eating habits. I'm being more careful with what I allow myself to breathe in. Obviously should not even be smoking. That shouldn't even be an option, right? Because if my lungs are affected, I have to protect myself from being around people who smoke and smoking myself, right? So, okay, so these are options, or these are changes I'm going to start making. What else do I do? Well, kidneys, we said. So I have to hydrate. That means I need to bring in more water. And remember, when we talk about more water, it's not just water. You'll find a lot of people out there that drink a lot of water and they're just as dehydrated, or they have just as much water retention. They're beginning to think that they're drinking too much water, and that's why they have water retention. Why does that happen? Because there's not minerals in the water. So we need minerals, and that's why we need soul drinks, full of plants brimming with minerals that our body can absorb. So I've begun to make all these changes. Are there specific products in Soul that I can use to address this issue? Definitely. I would use a package that Soul has put together that is known as package number 8, because that cell detox, it's got that name in it, is going to help me address all the things that have taken me to have symptoms today where I am having water retention. Now remember, I'm not a doctor. I don't diagnose, don't prescribe, don't treat illnesses. Don't link products with illnesses. So all we're doing is, what does the body need to do what it's been beautifully designed to do? Heal itself. What does it need? These are the plants that many studies have shown will help the body, the spleen, the kidneys, the lungs, to do the job that they have been designed to do. You're giving them gold. You're giving them what it needs so they can repair themselves. And as you do that, you'll find that things fall into place. So that's what I would do. I would definitely make all those changes that we talked about. I would use package number 8, and I would start thinking of how I can add certain things to my diet, like asparagus, onions, and raw. We're talking raw onions. I'm talking about lightly steamed asparagus so that they're more raw than not. You know, and if you can eat them raw, eat them raw. Asparagus, onions, garlic, turmeric, ginger. Think of all these things that are going to be awesome to help the water move along, help the organs move this water out of the body. Think also in terms of the importance of exercise, because, whoops, let me see, what did I press here? Because one of the things that is very important is exercising. And the best exercise, if you don't think you can do a lot, because obviously, remember, we're talking about people that are going to be overweight sometimes. You can't tell them, okay, go run a marathon or run a mile or run, sometimes they can only do 5 minutes of something. But if we find a rebounder, that's one of the best exercises to do when we're dealing with issues with the lymphatic system, which is something that is present when I'm dealing with water retention. So if I get a rebounder, they're very easy. You can put them under the bed. You can prop them up against something when you're done with them and get them out of the way. So not talking about a trampoline, just a rebounder that you can get at sports stores. Walmart at one time had them. So use that. But exercise, very important. Be in bed on time. Okay, my Spanish going here and mixing me up. Be in bed on time. What does that mean, on time? Because a lot of people think I always sleep 8 hours. I go to sleep at 12 and I wake up at 8. Wrong time. So by 10:30, I'm asleep because the body needs to do regenerating, and my kidneys will do that better if I'm asleep by 10:30. So by 10, I'm already looking for changes. Use essential oils. Use them in a diffuser. They'll help your lungs, but use them on your body as well. There is an excellent one. I know it looks backwards here. Courage, which is already made with a combination of different essential oils. If you don't know which ones they are and you'd like to know, leave a note here and I will send you the list, or I'll post the list of essential oils in here. But one of them is lavender, which is very good for issues where there is water retention. So, and use it often. There are YouTube videos where I explain how to use the essential oils. If you have questions, please leave them here. But use the essential oils and use them frequently. When you're addressing water retention, which is very advanced, using them every 30 minutes, every hour is fine. If not, you're seeing a little bit of this and you're beginning to address it 3 times a day, you know, the essential oils are very neat. The body eliminates what you don't need. So just use them and have and see the results with it. So we talked about a couple of different things that we can do. That is the way that we begin to address the root of our illness, which is our livers, our lymphatic system, our liver, our lungs, and the spleen, which in traditional Chinese medicine is your digestive system. I read something, and where did I write it? I read something from a book, from a writer, and you've probably heard of him and heard of this book, Hemingway, A Farewell to Arms. And he wrote something in this book that made me think of what we're talking about today. He said, "The world breaks everyone, and afterward, many are strong in the broken places." That's us at an emotional, mental, or physical area. We break, the world breaks us. It's all about what we choose to bring ourselves back together. And if we do, and if we choose gold, the products that are like gold in our system, then we come back stronger in the broken places. Because now we have a testimony we can share with others that is amazing. So as you begin to heal from whatever issue you're talking about, today we were talking about edema, but as you begin to heal from anything, be patient, because we want to rush the body so much, and healing does not take place in the body that way. But be patient, don't give up on yourselves. Look for products that are going to be like gold and use them to heal. And what'll happen is that you'll be more valuable to those around you, to yourself, and you'll live a better life until you're ready for the next life. So anyway, I hope this helps you. And remember, always ask for a second opinion.